Good evening, members, and welcome to our Cabinet meeting on the 19th of June. Members, we're not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if the fire alarm does go off during the meeting, please leave to the nearest emergency exit and make your way over to the outside of Runnymede Hall. Right, start the meeting off by introductions of Cabinet members. I'll start with Councillor Savage.
Councillor Ross Savage, Cabinet Member for People and Community.
Good evening all. Councillor Rob Lillis, Cabinet Member for Health, Wellbeing and Housing.
Good evening, Councillor Barry.
Could I just welcome Councillor Liz, as he's a new member of the Cabinet. So I'll take this opportunity to welcome him to the Cabinet and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Councillor Barry Palmer, Cabinet Member for Economic Growth and Climate Action.
Good evening, Councillor Michael Fuller, Cabinet Member for Environment.
Evening all, Councillor Tom Gibson, Cabinet Member for Special Projects and Assets.
All right, thank you, councillors. Have we any apologies for absent?
We have apologies from Councillor Gibson and also from Councillor Mountford.
Thank you, Sonia. Agenda item 2, declaration of interest. Members, do we have any interest to declare? No interest, thank you, members. Members, can I have permission to sign the minutes of the previous meeting to be agreed? Thank you, members. Oh, I'll do that afterwards, I'm told. Fair enough. Okay, agenda item 4 is the long-term plan for the town's team. At the Cabinet meeting held on the 20th of March, it was agreed the following. Government announcement of £20 million being allocated to Canvey Island that officers would undertake all work necessary to establish the town board. The government, in its supplementary guidance issued on 14th of May, has stipulated that appointing the town board is the responsibility of this council. In consultation with potential chair of the board, and additional notes have been produced that sets out details of the board and copies which have been circulated tonight. The investment plan will be a 3-year vision for communities and set out a 3-year programme in which the funds will be spent. Any decisions on the contents of the investment plan lie within the town board and will be developed through the engagement with the local community. The council is accountable body for the funding and therefore the fund must be spent in line with the council's good governance, arrangements and local government finance regulations. Draft terms of reference are set out in Apex 1 to the report for the Cabinet to approve this evening. These will be recommended to the town board to agree at the first meeting. Members, are there any comments? No, members, then I will move the recommendation to approve the accountable body of the long-term plan for the town funding, draft terms and reference for the town board for agreement by the board at its first meeting. 2, to note the appointment of the Canvey Island Town Board Chair and appointment of the board including the leader of the council to represent the council. Do I have a seconder?
Chairman, I second that.
Thank you, councillor. Members, is that agreed? Thank you very much. Agenda item 5 is the asset management, property management of the Knightswick Shopping Centre. Councillor Tom Gibson, would you introduce the item, please?
Thank you, Leader. So the purpose of this report is to highlight the options available, the options for the provision of asset management and property management services for the Knightswick Shopping Centre, and to seek delegated authority to officers to tender and award the asset management and property management contracts in the interest of promoting economy and growth through a key asset that supports our objectives. The Knightswick Centre in the centre of Canvey Island is a key economic and community asset in the borough. In terms of dimensions, the whole site measures 5.16 hectares, is comprised of 75,077 square foot of retail floor space, 28 retail units and 277 car parking spaces. The centre includes several well-known retail and high street chains, of which Sainsbury's is the anchor tenant, occupying 54% of the centre's floor space. Currently, both asset management and property management services are provided by Montague Evans and are due to be novated to Savills with a formal date yet to be announced. The Council anticipates that this novation to be seamless and to maintain the same level of service at the same negotiated rates until the end of the contract on the 31st of October 2024. In the context of the in the context of the impending end of this contract, the council needs to re-procure the services currently provided by Montague Evans. This comprises two elements: an asset management service comprising the day-to-day client management of the centre, and a property management service comprising the day-to-day retail management. The cost of the property management service is recharged to the tenants through the service charge, which is levied as part of their leases in addition to rents payable. The asset management service is an overhead of the ownership and operation of the Knightswick shopping centre, and so is a cost to the council. It is not rechargeable, but is paid for from the rents which the council collects from its tenants and is held within the Knightswick ring-fenced reserve. In order to ensure smooth transition come the end of the current contract, I've consulted with officers in order to establish the best way forward. Officers have completed a detailed options analysis for provision of both the asset management and property management services, as well as soft market testing, which has demonstrated interest from the market and capability of delivering the necessary services. The options are before you in section 8 of the report. I'll not go through each of them individually, but we consider option 1 to be the best way forward, to competitively tender the asset management and property management contracts in order to deliver optimum value for money for taxpayers at this time. This option also provides a balance of control and risk for the council via a clear specification of promoting the council's priorities, and it also delivers service resilience through the council procuring a contractor. Should recommendation 1 be adopted, it's proposed that Cabinet delegate authority to the Assistant Director of Estates, in consultation with the Section 151 officer and myself as portfolio holder, to competitively tender the asset management company and competitively tender the asset management and property management contracts in accordance with council procedure rules. It is also proposed that authority is delegated in the same manner to award the asset management and property management contracts upon completion of the tender process. I'd like to thank Darren McLaughlin and his team for his comprehensive work on this report, and we will of course be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gibson. Members, are there any questions? No questions? Okay, members, there are 3 recommendations on there. Do I have a seconder?
I'll happily second that.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. Is that agreed, members? Agreed. Thank you very much. Agenda item 6, productivity plan. On the 16th of April 2024, Minister Simon Hoare from the Department of Levelling Up, Housing and Communities wrote to the Council about productivity in local government. The letter gave details about the government's expectations around productivity plans that local authority will be expected to produce. This sets out in Appendix 1. The plan should be submitted to government by 19th of July 2024, and the Council proposed document is set out in Appendix 2. Are there any comments or questions from members? No questions or comments? Members, I move the recommendation. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor. Is the recommendation agreed, members? Agreed. Thank you very much. Agenda 7, the Recreation Service Funding Achievements. Councillor Tom Gibson, please introduce the item.
Thank you, Leader. So this one's a good news story for the Council and Castle Point residents, to bring to public attention the fantastic work being done in our Recreation Department in securing external funding to deliver health and wellbeing projects to the benefit of the entire Castle Point community. The Council has proactively sought and submitted targeted funding applications to support its recreational services, communities and wider place-based partnerships, and has secured strategic investments to the benefit of the wider community from a range of sources. This includes the Public Health Accelerator bid, which has awarded the Council £227,000 over 2 years from ECC's FAB programme to launch the Find Your Active Referral campaign. This project will further the county-wide initiative led by Active Essex within Castle Point, complementing strategies in place from both Active Essex and Sport England. To align with these, the Council will evolve its recreational facilities, including leisure centres, community halls and open spaces, into active wellbeing hubs that aim to better address the specific health and wellbeing needs of our diverse community. The project will prioritise outreach to those with greatest health needs and those currently disengaged from existing recreational offering. 2 new wellbeing ambassador positions will be created to drive community engagement, which will be filled by people who will reach out into our community to build relationships and to support those with the greatest need for access to the appropriate facilities. They'll connect with residents to understand their unique needs and guide them towards tailored resources in order to really make a tangible difference. The project will focus on understanding community needs and addressing health inequalities as an overriding objective, with a target engagement of 2,500 residents. Following on from the Council's commitment to renovate the 3G football pitch at Waterside Leisure Centre, We've also secured funding from the Football Association in the form of a £4,800 grant, which will be used to purchase new football goals for the facility, breathing new life into it and returning it to its status as a highly valued community asset as it always has been in the past. We've also secured match funding to the tune of £98,800 from Sport England's Swimming Pool Support Fund. This funding will contribute towards the £197,600 investment required to install solar panels on the swimming pool roof at Waterside Farm, which will reduce energy consumption by 143,000 kilowatt hours per year. This is not only a substantial step towards the council's green objectives, it is set to save the council an estimated £30,000 per annum on its utility bills. And lastly, but by no means least, the Sport England Place expansion have verbally agreed a development grant award totaling over £251,000, due to be confirmed after the general election, following the selection of Canvey Island as one of the locations to receive a share of the national pot. This exciting and important initiative will focus on areas of greatest need to make a real difference in the community. The initial funding will be used to improve accessibility to recreational resources, enhance staff development and expertise, support early test projects, and fund small-scale programmes for youth and older adults. In addition to this, a larger funding application of £1 to £1.6 million will be developed and submitted to deliver the place expansion over the next 3 to 4 years. This will significantly enhance opportunities in the borough, which includes some of England's most neglected areas. We intend to use this project framework to drive place expansion initiatives across the entire borough, maximising benefits for our whole community. I'd like to place on record my thanks to Shane Williams and the whole team for their fantastic work in the area. With these funding successes, as well as those to come in the future, we can really begin to establish a desirable leisure and recreation offering in Castle Point to serve and further enhance the offering to the whole community. We will, of course, now be happy to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel Gibson. And this is excellent news for the community, and I would personally like to thank all the officers who have been involved in securing this funding. It's took a lot of hard work, and I know because I've met a few meetings where we spoke about what we're doing, and I think it's great news, and it will go to good causes through the whole of our borough, hoping getting people more health and fit. Members, it's a good news story, but it's there to be noted. Is that noted, members? Thank you very much. Agenda item 8, Regulation Investigatory Powers Act 2000, the RIPA policy, annual update, the use of powers. Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, councillors and officers. So basically this is the annual update of the RIPA policy, as the leader has just mentioned. The report is linked to the council priorities for community health and wellbeing, and it's basically just to note the contents of the report. In essence, the regulations of Investigatory Powers Act were introduced in 2000. The Act sets out the reasons to which the use of directed surveillance and covert human intelligence sources may be authorised. Cutting through the report, you've seen the report for yourself. As a result, the council has not found it necessary to use any RIPA applications to the Magistrates Court in the past year. So basically, we've not used any covert surveillance this year. The other part of this Act is that we also do a 2-yearly update in conference with the officers. We've decided to delay that to the latter part of the year because of upcoming changes, potentially to the surveillance around the borough, which will hopefully be announced shortly. So ultimately, the report's in front of you. We haven't used the surveillance, as I just suggested, and I just want you to note the reports.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. Members, are any questions? No questions, then is that noted, members? Thank you, members. Item 9, matters referred from Overview and Scrutiny Committee. There are none. Members, that concludes formal business for this evening. I declare the meeting closed at whatever time. 7:15. 7:15. Thank you very much and good night.